Welcome back everyone to another episode of City Superworlds. I'm really looking forward to today's episode. We're hopefully going to get some people into our city, and I want to just mention a big shout out to anyone that's liked and subscribed this channel. Really appreciate it, or in fact watched the channel. I've just made a slight tweak just before today's episode. I've changed one of the streets to a highway just to kind of increase the speeds a little bit. You can probably see once again the civilians can travel at speeds of 100 on this road until they get to the intersection. Then they have to change to 50, which is a very fast speed. We're going to try and develop some connections in today's episode. Having so much fun with this series at the moment. There's a street, and that's quite a long street, but will we keep that as it is? Yeah, I think we will. The difference, of course, between streets and highways, once again, those grids that appear in streets will not appear on a highway. You can see it there, actually. The street on the left there, and also then an avenue on the right. You can build on the grids either side, but the highway in the center you can't build left or right from the highways. So that's something to just remember. The city is having a lot of issues with pollution, power, and those icons just above the buildings indicate, and also water. So we're going to try and we're going to try and resolve some of those issues if we can today. And we're going to keep building it out a little bit more at the same time. So I think we're going to take a look. We've got one power plant which is not connected at the moment. We're going to have to change that, obviously, but I think probably what we could do just to kind of start things off is begin with a power line. So we're going to create a power line and power lines are connected from these terminals. I'm going to drop it down to here. There is another power line that we did create previously that's running the whole way up, but we also will take a look at the sewage problem now as well. So we're going to build a sewer and a water treatment plant. Both water treatment plant we're going to build about here next to the coastline, and we're also then going to have a sewage outlet just kind of nearby. And then we're going to need some pipes, and you can add those. It's the orange pipe, sewage pipe, single sewage pipe that needs to be connected to our cities. City Skylines 2, one of the great features they've added, I absolutely love this feature, is the fact that when you're building your city and you lay down roads or ploppables, you'll have a water pipe and a sewage pipe automatically that will be laid down as well, and that is such a big help to city builders. It saves literally hours of tedious pipe building, which is something that for city building games that I've never really liked or enjoyed. Water pumping station. We'll probably need I'm going to go for an advanced. And again, you won't be able to build this unless you've enabled unlock all buildings. No achievements. We're not worried about really achievements. It's much harder to play the game with achievements without the mods, without a little bit of assistance. I think it's a little bit tougher, to say the least, just a little bit. So we're gonna lay down some road. That road icon just telling us in order to really have this activated, we're gonna need road, and the blue pipes, same thing. We're going to need to go back in. This time we're going to take in the blue pipe instead of the yellow pipe, and the blue pipe is the water, so we're going to connect that here. That is connected. Difficult to see 100%, but yeah, it looks connected. And we'll connect the other terminal as well, so we can have lots of water. This really should be a good amount of water to help solve the water issue. The sewage problem as well should be solved, at least temporarily, I think, with the buildings that we're just putting up here at the moment. So just laying down some road here. The line tool is really helpful for these type of creations, but it's not necessary, but it is a very useful tool. I've also installed an extended radio as well, so some really cool alternative music for the games. Helpful. Okay, we're gonna unpause and see if that fixes a few of the issues. It should fix quite a few. There we go. Yep, just power left now, so if 2 out of 3 issues fixed. We haven't really got the power lines dealt with yet, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep zoning for the moment. That's our tram line. We do also need at this point, before we do continue zoning, we're gonna have to lay down train line. Otherwise, later it'll be much more difficult to put in the train tracks. So yeah, this is the line I'm looking. One long train track. You know, I'm thinking we'll just go the whole way to the edge of the map here, which is quite a distance, as you can see. It's very long. You press X and curve this just a touch. We're gonna have to just straighten it up a little bit. We're getting a little bit too close to the mountain there. So far that looks okay. Through some forest. And just keep going for the moment till I get to the edge of this map. There we go. You can see as well that there's going to be a connection by those 2 lines. That means you're definitely connected. If you don't see the 2 lines, you're not connected. You need to go right to the edge of the map. Over the edge of the map, really. We've got some road links already, so that's okay. First train stop, I don't think we really need to make one until this point, and then yeah, we will make one. Hopefully we will get some train lines. If we're going to actually go with a rail yard, I think, because we're going to need that for the trains to run, so we're going to just take back a little bit of track here and delete, just to give ourselves a little bit of room. Not that much, just enough to make it a bit easier, just to squeeze in some rail lines. Let's just see if that's connecting okay. Yep, I'm happy with that, and positioning looks good as well so far. So okay, it's the first one-way train track laid down. We'll need to put in another one. You got to be a little bit careful with this because you can't. The curves need to be just acceptable for the train to actually go around. If they're a little bit too severe, the curves that you make, for example, say if I was trying to curve this piece of track here, you can curve it too much almost, and it makes the curve too tight for the train. So that looks fine though, no issues there. We're gonna maybe just have the track going this way. We're gonna curve it off, just branching it off gently. Even there you can see the curve that I'm almost trying to do is almost too severe, but we might just get away with that, I think. Just also double check that there's no gaps in the track just visually, because sometimes that can be an issue. You can see actually there's a problem there that I might be able to get around. It might be okay, maybe. It's a bit close, a little bit tight, just this curve. I wonder will it be okay. Yes, just about okay. I was a little bit close there, where I put that track initially. This piece should be a little bit easier to line up. No real issues there. Yeah, this is all interconnecting pretty well at the moment with the rail yard. So the position of the rail yard I'm happy enough with as well. I think it looks fine. We're just going to get some more double track, just split it off right about here would be fine, I think. And we'll go on the outer track first. I think that should be okay. Connection, yep. Can get a little bit tight. You can give yourself more space if you can afford to. The only thing is, some train tracks, that's a 2-into-1 decide to create there. Some tracks might be a little bit difficult just because some cities might be a little bit difficult to build just because you might not have that much space. I know in my other city I'm building, I don't really have any space for a rail yard, and I have to try and create some space because you definitely need one. You absolutely need one. I think on the outskirts is probably a better place to put it as well. So the road is also needed for the rail yard, or at least a street. That looks like there should. That looks okay. I'm struggling to see what's the problem with that because that looks fine. It does look like it is connected to me. Look at it, you can see it's asking for road, but there is road there now, so I think what we'll do is continue the train track though, and build a first station, and we're going to build it, I think we're going to build it right into the middle of the city. So we're going to delete a little bit we're going to have to delete a little bit of train track, and we're going to have to delete one of the streets as well. Maybe two of the streets. We might have to just change this formation a little bit just to give ourselves a little bit of extra space, because rail stations, they do take up a massive amount of space. You can see how big it is. Even with the space I've just created, you can see it's not even close to being enough. So we're going to have to make a little bit more space even with the changes I've made there. So again, taking off a bit more road, and we're going to delete the track there. Y to rotate, of course, and it's not really rotated the way I would have wanted, but actually I almost had it there. It looked pretty close. Yeah, that we can work with. This we can work with. It's a little bit off, but center, but that's okay. We can work with it. We can make changes to the track. In terms of the direction, and it is important. It does seem like a lot of work with the transport so far. It's just so critically important to get your city right. You need to kind of make your transport links first, because it's a lot harder, I think, this game if you do it later. So I've had to do quite a number later in my other city I've worked on. So you know, if it does happen, it happens. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to try and use elevation or whatever you need to do to get it to work okay. So you have to sync okay. Okay, another line here. We're just gonna connect. Yep. One way track there. There's a lot of things we still need to get right with this station. This is actually a mistake from myself. Sorry about that. I picked the bigger train station. I just want a standard one. I've made a little mistake there. Pretty sure that is the bigger one. Yeah, that's a modded station. So it's a rail yard I was selecting. So this is a smaller one, and you can see that's a lot more manageable. I was wondering what was happening there. That was a little bit too big. So this is a lot easier now to work with the smaller station, which is still a big station, in terms of just squeezing it in and everything. So we'll now get back to where we were a few moments ago. So perhaps the line that we originally created was probably a lot closer to where it needs to be, but that's okay. We can just make some changes, and we will end up probably having to do deletions and edits. That's all part of this experience with City Skylines 2. And just making sure the connections are all okay. Curve too tight, you can see it coming up there. That's the message we're not looking for certain. We're looking at all costs to avoid that type of message appearing if we can. Yeah, just making the connection a bit easier, so we probably don't need this line here now. Probably clear that out. And any unnecessary track you don't really need to keep, I don't think, you can get rid of. Give ourselves a little bit of extra space here than normal, just because of the type of track we're trying to reconnect here. Yeah, that's good. That's a good change up, I think. And then straight through the middle of the city. Now we've got an elevated highway coming up, so that's a really good thing, which means we can go underneath. And continue on, going across some of these avenues. No obstacles really so far, this is good. Keep going a bit further. Right to the edge of the map here. Ooh, the first real problem then, the mountains. We really can't do anything with the mountains there, so we're gonna have to switch up and change directions. The mountain's just too steep for us to climb, for the train to climb, so we're gonna have to veer right in this case. Really looking for the edge. This is a really beautiful scenic train route that we're creating. I'm gonna have to just make some changes at some stage. I'm looking for where the edge of the map is now, and I'm struggling to actually see where it is. It's quite a distance away still. These are big maps. There'll probably be at least 1 or 2 more stations we'll have to build, without a doubt. In my other map, I think I've got like 3 stations, but that's just for starters. It's going to be a lot more added. Invalid shapes, that's a bit too tight, but that's okay. Just a little bit lower and it works out. So the full track runs the whole way across the valley in both directions, as you can see, which is pretty cool. We do need some roads, so we're going to go back to road. Probably just two-lane road is fine, or maybe a one-way street even. Maybe one-way alley actually might be okay. And I'm just noticing it has accepted the alley there, so we're gonna just come back and make the change. Maybe where we went wrong was the fact we went with a road here. We didn't go with an alley, so we'll just take that back a little bit, reverse. Really happy with the amount of mods that are in the game at the moment. I still want more, of course, but yep, that's fixed it. Sometimes if something works somewhere else, you can copy it and put it in where you need to. So that's the rail track, really pretty solidly fixed, I think, for the moment. Power issue we haven't quite resolved, so we're gonna have to do a lot more zoning to get the power issue sorted. I think that probably the zone that the area that we've zoned there is probably for the vision I have. I like to keep my bigger buildings in the center of the city. So with the vision I've got in mind, I think probably what we're gonna do is delete a lot of the buildings that are laid down here. Completely up to yourself how you want to design your own city. The layout, of course, you can have bigger buildings at the front, maybe next to a shoreline, would make sense in that case, but I do like my buildings, the bigger buildings, to be in the middle, because you could show off more of the city, more of your buildings, if the smaller buildings are up front, if that makes sense. Like many cities would be designed that way, and probably 2 more heavy density residential, heavy density office would be two of the zones I've used the most. That would definitely be, you can see how much office has already been zoned actually there. So we're going to continue maybe a bit more residential here. There's quite a bit of office there at the moment. You could argue if it's too much. Then we're going to branch off a little bit more with the maybe commercial. These buildings wouldn't be just as tall as what we've just seen, like a big commercial shopping district. In fact, all this area we'll just say is going to be commercial, which is quite a bit. And then we're going to go back. We're going to go medium. Look, we're going to go low rent residential. So these are kind of big-ish buildings, but they're not of the same level of height and size and scope as what we've just seen. We'll really just go industrial next to the power plant. So we'll just zone some industry here. We'll maybe create some more roads because we're running out of roads here. You can see when you're zoning how much road you do need. You need a lot of roads. We're going to create a small alley which is going to run here to start with. And we're going to, there's another area that's just been unlocked, and that we're going to run at least another one, possibly two of these. Okay, and this one, I think we could probably delete the power line there because that's in the way a little bit. I don't think we need it there, and I think there's maybe a better place to put it just to kind of keep it out of the way a little bit more, because it is getting in the way there just a touch. We can zone industrial the whole way across here. Industrial zoning. It's very important to have industrial zoning. It's something that actually my other city is lacking a lot, so I'm trying to put that right a little bit here. I'm going to try and get some more roads laid down next to the train station. Another thing that's very useful is parking for citizens, and that's something that is so easy to forget. So I'm going to just create an overground parking building very close by to the train station, just here I think. You can see the parking from the big P, and I'm going to create a second one. Well, like an oval shape. I'm going to put it right in the middle of the city. That will help a lot, I think, with just the parking congestion issues potentially that might arise later. Okay. Some more buildings now. Some more zoning. Medium we're going to switch to. And then we're going to go mixed. Mixed is commercial on the bottom, and then residential on top. And I like this new feature of both. I think it's a really cool new zoning. They've put some good ideas together. Colossal Order with the zoning tool for this particular game this time around. I really like it. What they've done. I think we could probably go medium in some of these other cases as well. I'm not going to zone too much around just where the train station is, but I'm going to just complete the road that I started. In terms of connections, we don't have the real connection completed just yet. We will have to go back and do that. So maybe we'll touch on that maybe now quickly. To create a train connection, you'll be going into transport, and then you'll be selecting the passenger line tool, and you'll be selecting one of those terminals. And then you're going the whole way across here. You can see you're just following the railway line the whole way that you created previously. It should, if for any reason it stops, or you get a red error message, it means that your track is too steep, or it's disconnected. Even if it looks like it's connected, sometimes there can be very subtle disconnections that you might just need to get. Now, usually it's when you're using elevated rail, it's when it will happen more, but and in order for the connections to stick, you actually need to make sure it clicks there. actually this is something I haven't even got fixed up in my other city, so this is a good start to get this real connection sorted. And in order for the connection to be solidified, you will have to click back, same place. Whenever you see line 1 train station with the arrows, that means you connected the waypoint the way it needs to be, and we're going to create a second one. If you don't see that, you just need to make sure you definitely click the train. It's so easy to do and to not click it. And we're going to just make sure we get to the other station this time. Now we're going right through the rail yard actually into the other connection on the end of the map. Same principle again, just making sure you definitely select, and then back again, same principle as before. But this is something that you can work on, of course, later. It's not something you need to maybe start off with. It's just to make sure you kind of get an idea of what to do with the train connections. So there's two routes to start with, which is good enough, I think, for the moment. We still haven't really connected the power plant to our city. We need to maybe just continue to zone a little bit more, not too much more, before it will be okay, but there's just a little bit more work to be done. So we're going to create a road, valid shape. Must have been a little bit too steep maybe there. Still in bad shape. Maybe the power plant's getting in the way a little bit. Sometimes can happen if the road is too steep. Still too steep again. Sometimes if that happens, you might have to just branch off just in every direction a little bit. We're going to zone for a bit more industry. Trying to really kind of get the power plant where it needs to be, and now I'm going to unpause and see how that looks. Going to be a lot of buildings coming up now in just a second. There goes the power issue. We've connected it successfully. Those changes have worked. There's a little bit of water and pollution issues on this little island with a sewer block up, but that's okay. We can come back to that. and just looking to see how the buildings go down for the moment. You can see them coming up. Most of those low rent residential, some commercial in the commercial area that we laid down is still being built. Most of the industrial has already been filled very quickly and is having some issues with power and water. So let's take a look and see if we can't solve that. Let's take notification. I just want to read what the notification says about the pollution. Water is not getting delivered to that building, so that is interesting. We might create one more water line. We've used the advanced, so we're going to go with just a standard pumping station maybe this time. This combined with what we've just done really should be enough to secure the water flow the way it needs to without any issues. I thought maybe I had already done enough previously actually, but apparently not. Need a little bit more work with it. Tricky part because I don't want to lay down too much road too soon. Trying to think of the connection we might use here. We will maybe connect this highway if we can. We're going to have to use elevation, which is pressing X and then elevation step, and then we can turn off the elevation just quickly as well. And that looks decent enough. I'm happy with that. So raw water is getting to the industrial sector. As you can see, it's still struggling a little bit. But I think that's where we'll leave it for this episode. Once again, thank you for joining. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And we'll come back in the next episode and see if we can fix a few more of these problems. But thank you very much for watching. Another episode of Cities Superworlds.